we're talking about making green tea kombucha. And this is medicinal food, so that when we think about it, we're really talking about reversing disease, especially abdominal problems, allergies, eczema, psoriasis, all these kind of chronic issues people deal with. This is a drink that is actually therapeutic. So when we look back at the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, he said, food is medicine and medicine be your food. So that's really what we want to do, is make sure that anything that we have, we want to make sure, I guess the easiest way not to have a disease is to eat your way out of it, to prevent it from not having it. It's a lot better than trying to treat a disease and undo it and reverse it, which all disease can be reversed, but it's better just not to have it. So when we think of food, it really is a daily choice of we're eating something to make us healthier, or we're eating something that makes us sicker. And then Hippocrates also said that all diseases begin with the gut. Why is that, guys? Why would we say all diseases? Why is acne a gut problem, not a hormone problem?
Immune system.
Immune system? Where's our immune system? In your gut, right? That's 3/4 of your immune system is actually in your gut. So all autoimmune stuff, it's all gut related. And then everything that, I loved when I taught anatomy and physiology, because when we got to the digestive system feeds every other system of the body. So if you're putting Big Macs in, and you have a really great digestive system, you're going to get a little bit of nutrition that is going to go and feed all the other systems of the body. If you eat a really healthy diet, but you have a messed up digestive system, you're going to get a lot of available nutrition that probably won't absorb. And so we want to make sure that the gut, we're putting good stuff in, but when it goes through, when it's broken down, that the gut can actually absorb it, because that's how you build strong bones. That's how you build a nervous system. That's how you build a great brain. That's how you build your hormones, is through food. And we, A, have to digest it, and B, have to actually absorb it. So if we mess up the gut, we mess up everything. You guys ever read Max Gerson's Gut-Brain Connection? It talks about all the neurological stuff, all the complications, depression, fatigue, brain fog, and we think of it as a brain thing, but it's actually a gut thing. We fix the gut and those problems go away. And the gut actually has as many nerves as your spinal cord, so that's a lot of nerves controlling all the stuff that you're digesting. And when we say all begin with the gut, we're talking about autoimmune stuff a lot of the time, allergies, asthma, acne, IBS, Crohn's, all the gut stuff is really easy. But even reflux and brain fog, depression, those things are just a symptom of your gut's messed up. And we have all these things that we do to disrupt the gut. And many of these things, like xenobiotics and xenoestrogens and medications, are things that, when God made the body, He didn't necessarily made it to be interfered with by all these other things that we created. So we screw up the immune system, screw up the gut by all these processes, and then we have a chemical dysregulation that goes along, and then we end up having symptoms. So what's good bacteria? Anybody can name any good bacteria? What's your favorite? Anybody?
Probiotics.
And antibiotics?
Oh, probiotics.
Probiotics, there we go. So probiotics, and I love the name. Pro means for. Biotic means life. It's life-giving. It's life beginning. You got the first biodome that they had. They didn't have bacteria in there. And everything died, and it was a big dismal failure. Bacteria is the essential thing that breaks down and provides life, no matter what aspect we're talking about. So good bacteria is all the good stuff. And in fact, many of the bad bacteria, anybody know what Clostridium difficile is, C. diff, right? Is that a scary thing? That's a good bacteria, right? That's your wild friend when he's with his wife. He's subdued, he's calm, he's doing his job, he's making B vitamins. Clostridium difficile actually makes B12, which makes you feel great and gives you energy. But when his wife, the good bacteria, isn't there, the better bacteria, Clostridium difficile goes a little crazy, right? And he starts creating toxins, and then we can actually destroy people very quickly based on that. So even the bad bacteria, the Helicobacter pylori, is actually good bacteria in balance. So we want to make sure that we talk about balance with that. So some good examples, you know, why do people eat yogurt?
Lactobacillus.
Lactobacillus. So that's a whole strain of different bacteria that are very beneficial for us. And if you eat yogurt, you get one, right? So that's awesome. 1 out of 750. So we want to make sure that we get lots of good bacteria in us. And you see the good bacteria surrounded by all the bad bacteria. And the importance of that is who actually destroys the bad bacteria? We don't. Who does it? The good bacteria. So with each drink of kombucha, right? Put it in a mug so you can't see what's actually down there. Drink that, and you know, oh, I'm killing the bad bacteria. So good bacteria is part of that kind of gut-brain scenario where you have that gut feeling. There is actually more bacteria in your gut than human cells on your body. So we are actually 1/10. Well, that's nice. Well, that's my wife. Don't worry about it. There we go. She won't that bother us again. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so beneficial bacteria. There's over 750 strains. They're actually looking at maybe even 1,000 strains. Think about that. Not 1,000 bacteria, but 1,000 different families of bacteria, all living in you and on you, all over everything, right? And it's all good stuff. It's all good bacteria. Nothing to fear. And that's one cell. So think of you. You look pretty cool, right? You got a lot of function going on. You're a pretty awesome person. But you are 1/10 of the living stuff in and around you. Isn't that crazy? 10 times of what lives on you is not you. You are more bacteria than person. And that equates to a good healthy person to about 3 pounds. Now bacteria is very, 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 very tiny. Human cells are quite a bit bigger. So we have a lot of bacteria, but you know, it's tiny. So it's only 3 pounds of your body weight. And these guys, when I was in school, we were taught we fight infections. But that's not true. These guys fight our infections. These are the cops and the FBI. These are the ones that kill things so they never actually get into your blood. They never actually get under your skin. If you get infections, it isn't because there's a problem with you. There's a problem with your barrier. There's a problem with bacteria that's supposed to be there to kill all those good and bad things. So with people like candidiasis or yeast infections or UTIs all the time, they're not just dysfunction, right? They just have killed off the good bacteria and not replaced the good bacteria. There's some interesting things you can do with kombucha to fix all that. But they also digest your food. I was taught we digest our own food. We break down all these things. We have these enzymes. But the reality is all that bacteria actually breaks down the vast majority of our food. And they break down things that we can't even break down, right? So there's things like cellulose. We don't even make the enzymes for it. And it breaks those down. And the other part about that is not only does it break down and feed us, but it actually breaks down chemicals we can't break down and feeds our DNA. And it feeds DNA polymerase, which is what edits out mutations in our DNA. So we keep getting toxicity and we keep getting DNA mutation, and then we can say we have genetic problems. But why is DNA polymerase not doing its job? Or not feeding it, right? And they also make your vitamins. So you want to feel good, you want your brain to work. B12 was the first antidepressant ever known. It was one of the most successful antidepressants ever used. And B12 is your gut bacteria. Your gut, 3 pounds of bacteria, should be making B12 and B6 and other B vitamins so you can feel good. When you buy a B vitamin off the shelf at a store, that is from a genetically modified bacteria that's supposed to be living in you producing B vitamins, but instead you're buying it instead of inoculating yourself with it. Does that make sense? You kill it off, they don't do their job, well, I'll just buy some from this other bacteria that lives at a factory. And of course they produce chemicals to protect us. They actually will produce antibodies and kill bad bacteria. So they're anti-parasitic, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. They kill all the other things that are not supposed to be in us, and they keep the bad bacteria in check. They marry them, right? And they keep them in check. So they can't do all kinds of crazy stuff. So kombucha is kind of new to a lot of you guys. Probably even last year, many of you guys didn't know what kombucha was, because neither did I, right? So it's a fairly new thing even for me, and I convinced myself I decided the other day, okay, I guess I'm a full-blown hippie now or something, making this stuff, you know. It's not how I grew up at all. Completely the antithesis of what I did growing up. But our culture doesn't embrace that, but is that true of all cultures? What cultures actually make bacteria out of foods, fermented foods?
Eastern.
Hmm?
Eastern.
Eastern?
Like Vietnamese, Thai,
That's right. Yeah.
Chinese,
Korea,
Korean, what do they make?
kimchi,
Kimchi.
German, sauerkraut.
German, sauerkraut, right? Every culture has their main fermented foods except for the U.S., right? Because what do we say? What do we think about bacteria in the U.S.?
kill it.
Kill it. It's bad, right? It's evil. It's a scourge. And of course, you know, cultures around the world are not afraid of a little culture. But you know, we are big on yogurt. I guess that might be the one thing that we do is we say, you know what, give us one bacteria, right? We'll just take that one. So America, we like to sterilize and homogenize and pasteurize and kill everything. And there's a great little thing I posted on Facebook that talked about all the horrible toxic chemicals that the FDA says that is healthy, and the thing that says is not healthy, raw milk, because it has bacteria. So scared, right? Bacteria. So we're scared. I mean, that's what we can put petroleum in candy and say, no, that's healthy. But living things, that's dangerous, right? So that's us. We not only sterilize. So if you're selling Clorox, bacteria is bad. It's evil. Don't touch anything because some kid touched this and now you guys see all these little viruses and bugs over there, right? And in my office, I always do this with patients and they all freak out. And I always worry about actually getting sick, even though I look like a real jerk. But it's all good. It's all good bacteria. Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't be freaked out about that because it's just selling paranoia that doesn't exist. In fact, women or families who live in dirty homes actually have less asthma, allergies, eczema, psoriasis, gut problems. Why? Because their whole house is teeming with good bacteria. When those kids, who in here made mud pies, right? They're kids. My little girls were sitting there the other day, like a couple years ago. They were finding worms and then they're putting worms in the mouth and they had mud all that. And I thought, no. Okay, yeah, that's probably good for you. All right. Just be okay. Don't tell your mom. So, you know, it's okay. They're getting good bacteria. And we like to use lots and lots of antibiotics. Which does what? Kills everything. You know, if you eat cooked garlic in your food, you kill off bad bacteria, but you don't kill good bacteria. Isn't that awesome? Thymol, ginger, turmeric, sage, basil, those are all natural antibiotics. And if you eat those every day, you're killing off the bad stuff, ensuring the good stuff is fed. And of course, one of the biggest mistakes we ever made back in the 80s is antibacterial soap, which led to what? We know? An epidemic of superbugs, right? So life always tries to outwit the chemicals that we try to kill it with. If somebody tries to break into your house through the door, you're going to prevent that. If they try to break in through a window, you're going to prevent that. And so your job is to always stay alive, and that's the same thing with bacteria and virus. They are always changing to outwit our synthetic medications. And then we create bugs that we no longer have medications for. And we actually have, you know, stuff that was multi-resistant staph is now MRSA, methicillin resistant, and we have vancomycin resistant. And if you get that, you're kind of screwed because we ran out of antibiotics a long time ago. But we still have honey. I'm not scared, right? Because we still have honey. They're now going back to using honey for Band-Aids. Why don't we just use that all the time anyways? So we don't want to kill them. We don't want to view them as bad. And the other thing we do is we consume 13 pounds of sugar a month as an American. The average American, 13 pounds of sugar. And what does bacteria eat? Sugar, right? So we cannot consume 156 pounds of sugar or an adult male from another country and think that we're going to be healthy and think that we're not going to just have Clostridium difficile go on a mad binge. And this kid's really happy with it. So Lysol equals more allergies, antibacterial soaps equals superbugs, sterile births. That's a really bad thing because that baby should be like inoculating the whole time it's coming out of that vaginal canal. It's getting all of mom's bacteria from the sterile placenta. And of course they go right to breast, and there's bacteria on the breast, and then they stick their hands in mom's mouth, and then they stick their hands in theirs, and they're constantly getting re-inoculated. Somebody in Journal of Pediatrics, or no, Parents magazine, when we had kids were little, we read that. And someone was blasting a mom because their baby dropped their pacifier on the ground, and the mom just wiped it off and put it back in the baby's mouth. And they're like, oh, there could be feces on the ground, there could be all these terrible things on the ground. Yeah, the kid walks on the ground with their hands, and then puts their hands in their mouth. They eat anything off the ground, okay? That's probably the best thing you just did for that kid, was just wipe out the big stuff and give them the good stuff. Formula, we know if we give them formula instead of good bacteria, they get more ear infections, more colic. Standard American diet equals leaky gut. Leaky gut equals all these brain and kind of depression and fatigue things. And then 13 pounds of sugar plus antibiotics ensures that nothing works at that point. And then every other system falls apart from them. Now this is another part, and we're not, this is a little bit about what we're doing today too, is how do we feed the bacteria? We're going to use a cup of sugar, organic, because we don't want a bunch of genetically modified crap, for our good bacteria. They've been good, right? They deserve better sugar. But does that mean we're eating sugar?
Not
No.
if the bacteria consumes it.
That's right, because the bacteria is going to eat it, and they're going to produce an acid, and it's going to have this acidic kind of flavor and taste to it. So if kombucha is not done right, it'll taste sweet. If it tastes sweet, resist the urge and just let it digest. It's got to eat all that sugar and convert it to good stuff. So the way that you support all those billions of bacteria in your gut, or actually 700 trillion bacteria in your gut and around your body, is what's called FOS. I mean, people buy that as supplements, which is ridiculous because fructooligosaccharides is all the indigestible fiber from fruits and vegetables. So what do you eat to support your good bacteria? Don't be shy. Alright. And then isomaltooligosaccharides is the malto part is from honey and sake, so another reason to drink sake every day, right? And then miso, who eats miso? Oh, it's like a Japanese soup. It has little chunks of tofu in there, and it has miso, and it's really good. Really good. Seaweed. But miso is fermented, so it's really good. And that miso, which is a big Japanese thing, is going to feed it. And see, the Japanese get that twice. That's why they're so healthy. That's why they live longer than Americans. And then xylose ones, these are from xylose sugar. And actually, Prairie Harvest over there has a gum called Spry. And Spry is flavored with xylose. And xylose, instead of sugar feeding your bacteria in your mouth to make acid, which destroys your teeth, it actually is going to promote good bacteria, streptaridians in your teeth, which then keep your teeth nice and healthy because it's not a bacteria problem, it's a 13 pounds of sugar problem, right? And when you eat that xylose sugar, it's going to feed your bacteria, and of course, really healthy foods, and foods that most people probably aren't eating a whole lot of. Even though we got our medicinal aloe vera from biblical times. Inulin, which is from bananas, and dandelions are awesome. Right? If you don't spray your yard, you pick your dandelions, eat them, pick the little leaves, put them in your salad, and put them in green smoothies. Wonderful, healthy, super healthy thing. It's a definite superfood. And garlic and onion is the staple, should be the staple of your diet. And wild yams are okay, sweet potatoes. Those are going to feed you good bacteria. Fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, greens. Anything with fiber, anything that God made, not what man altered, is the key. So if it's real food, it feeds the good bacteria. So whole grain brown rice, does that feed good bacteria? What about instant brown rice? That feeds what kind of bacteria? The bad bacteria.
Question?
Yes.
Do you eat the dandelion flower or just the leaves?
I ate the whole thing. You're supposed to eat the root too.
That's got your natural salts in
Yeah. So when I take the girls on walks, we eat the yellow part. I don't know. I went to a foo-foo restaurant in Boston once, and they had dandelions on the salad when I was a kid, and I just remembered, it's an expensive restaurant, we're eating stuff in my yard. This doesn't make any sense, you know? So actually the dandelion root's really good, dandelion leaves are really good. If you go to like Wichita at Natural Grocers, they'll have dandelion leaves like that long. So, and the dandelion root is actually a medicinal herb, or a medicinal root. So just the whole thing.
May I ask a question? If you have pets in your yard,
Yeah.
and if they're
You might want to rinse them off a
pooping,
little.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be my only, because if they have some sort of parasite that they're
Right.
re-picking up from eating grass like dogs tend to and cats tend to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You don't want to avoid the landmines and find the little. I wouldn't do that. So find your neighbor's yard that doesn't use pesticides, and they don't have animals, and just munch in the yard. All right. So I love this chart here. Are you happy? Are you happy with your health? No. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Change something. Do something that you don't already do, because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get what you've already gotten. So just make a change. And this change today is, we're going to talk about kombucha. Kombucha. All right, so we can make our own cure. Any questions before we get started? All right. So who's the most adventurous person in here? Oh yeah, it's all quiet. All right, let me put this stuff away and we can put stuff up here. So there's two parts to this, and it's an actual really easy thing to make kombucha.
Right. So it
The nice thing is it does it all on its own. So we're going to start with bottling, and then we'll talk about how to make the next batch. And this one was full, but I used some of it for this. So there for a while I was up to 7 gallons, and it got to be a little bit overwhelming to keep up. So I've given away about 9 or 10 of these now. The nice thing is your kombucha that you get, it's going to, the little mother is going to replicate, and then if it gets thick enough, you can give it away to a friend or double your amount. And we have 24 of these to give away if you guys want, little starters, and that way you can make your own, and it's free, and the bottles are, you know, try them in the store every now and then, but they're like $5 to buy sometimes. So it gets a little pricey to be healthy. So the best way to be healthy is dirt stinking cheap, right? Make it yourself. So that's what we want to do, and then save all that money and buy better food. All right, so let's first talk about bottling. And I just have 4. A gallon will make about 7. And I used, when we first started, I had a gallon, and we just used, you know, whatever jars we had, old peanut butter jars and stuff like that. But then I sprung for these at Walmart, and so it's 12 ounces, and I keep each gallon makes about 7, and so I'll have 3. I'll have one